Hi there, I'm Lena Anani, and you're listening to She Wrote a Book, where I interview amazing women from all over the world who also happen to be published authors. I created this show to educate, entertain, and inspire you to be the voice you want to hear in the world. Did you know this episode comes with a free gift? It's a webinar for aspiring authors who want to learn my insider secrets on writing and publishing books. You can access this free training instantly at SheWroteABook.com/bonus. Now let's get started. You are listening to episode number 40 of She Wrote a Book, and today I'm interviewing Kelly Eckert, author of the book, What's Your Spirit Animal? A Guide to Uncovering Your Gifts, Overcoming Challenges, and Claiming Your Personal Power. Weaving together biology, coaching methodology, and shamanic practices, What's Your Spirit Animal is a practical guide for both spiritual growth and personal success. Kelly Eckert is the author of What's Your Spirit Animal, a 2015 TAZ Nonfiction Book Award finalist. With degrees in biology and anthropology, Kelly founded Persephone Center for Shamanic Energy Medicine, doing healing work and intuitive consultations. Again, her book is called What's Your Spirit Animal? A Guide to Uncovering Your Gifts, Overcoming Challenges, and Claiming Your Personal Power. You can find the link to purchase her book in our show notes for this episode at SheWroteABook.com/40. So Kelly, it's such a pleasure to have you as a guest today. I'd love to know what inspired you to write and publish your book.
Well, thank you for having me here, Lena. I'm really excited too. So what inspired me to write and publish my book? It was a combination of both looking for updated and more new, like brand new information on spirit animals, and having some of that information that I wanted to share with people. So I love some of the books that are already out there, and there is great information out there already, but I was looking for something a little bit more modern, a little bit more contemporary, and something that I and my clients, I was doing life and business coaching when I wrote the book. I was looking for something that I could use with my clients to help them use spirit animals in their personal and professional lives, not just for spirituality, if you will.
Beautiful, perfectly put. I love that was your angle with the book, and I'm really glad you did that. So for the benefit of the listener who may not know what a spirit animal is, can you elaborate a little bit on that and just educate us briefly on what a spirit animal actually is?
Absolutely. I actually do get there is a lot of confusion about that, because a lot of people who don't know anything about this already think that I mean dead pets, so pets who have passed on, and it's not that at all. So it's not communicating with or working with animals in spirit, as in ones who were living and have now passed on. It's spirit animals as in power animals, animal totems, or animal archetypes. So for those of us, for your listeners who are in the United States, they can think of Native American cultures who work with spirit animals or power animals. And if you've seen totem poles with animal figures carved into that pole, that's what we're talking about here. And I teach them as animal archetypes in the sense that, like Carl Jung explained with archetypes, there are characteristics, gifts, and challenges that come with each animal, each spirit animal, or each animal archetype that anyone on the planet can tap into and understand at some basic universal level. So that's what this book is about. It's about how to find your spirit animal, or more than one, and what it means, and why you should work with a spirit animal at all. And then I go into details about 88 different spirit animals, what their main gifts are, what their main challenges are, how you can work with each one, and what it means when you discover that a particular spirit animal is yours.
I love that you cover both the gifts and the challenges. I don't know if I've seen that, the challenges part. Usually you focus on the gift and then you connect with that. So why challenges?
Because in my experience working with them, that they were coming up as well, and to me they are equally important to the gift. So I'll give a quick example. Let's say hawk. Hawk is one of mine, so it's easy for me to discuss, without planning like that. So a gift of hawk is vision, that high, big picture perspective. If you imagine a hawk flying around and being able to see for miles around it. But a challenge that can come with hawk is being aloof, or not wanting to land, wanting to stay up there circling so long looking at the big picture that it can't make a decision. That's spirit animal challenge, right? And so I'm not talking, literally a physical hawk can't ever decide. But as a spirit animal, people with hawk as a spirit animal usually have that challenge of seeing so much of the big picture that when it comes to the details and needing to come in and make a landing, which means make a decision, it can be tough at times. So understanding the basic archetypal challenges that come along with each of the spirit animals is really, really important in order to mitigate those challenges, to understand the common pitfalls, blind spots, and obstacles that we have throughout our lives, and then to really hone and use those gifts. If we keep getting caught up or tripped up by those challenges, we're not going to be able to use those gifts fully either.
Absolutely. I love that. I seriously love that you include that.
Thank you.
It's very, very thoughtful. And I also heard you say, or maybe I read this in your bio, in your intro, that you weave together biology, coaching, and methodology. What exactly does that mean?
So a lot of, all right, well, I'll just jump to this right away and say that the bulk of the information about each spirit animal came from my doing a shamanic journey on each spirit animal. So I'm sort of channeling the information that I got from them. What you read in the book predominantly comes from that. There's lots of archetypal information in there that, in other words, everybody who knows anything about spirit animal would say, yes, that the 8 legs represents the number 8, which represents the infinity symbol. So there's that gift of continuation, a form of infinity and immortality there. So there's some basic archetypal gifts, but there's this extra personal information that came through with every journey that I did. Now there's also information that I get from the biological understanding of each animal. So I referred back to my biology background and biological anthropology background, and use that to help other people understand how they can discern different gifts and challenges for the animals. So for example, when I tell someone after they find out, whether it's leading a workshop or through the book or working with someone personally, when they find their spirit animal, the first thing I tell them to do is write down everything they think about that animal, and then look up the physical behaviors and characteristics of it, because that's going to tell you a lot. Like if it's an animal that is solitary, that's important. Then that means your spirit animal carries this solitary energy with it, compared to a herding or flocking animal or a pack animal. Then your spirit animal carries that energy with it. And then the final component there that you said, the coaching methodology, is really giving the readers a lot of information in the book of practical uses for working with their spirit animals. So I wanted to make all of this as grounded and useful as possible and pragmatic. Not just this, oh yes, spirit animals are awesome and this is all spiritual. It's very spiritual. But we're human beings in this lifetime, so we need to have it brought down into what does this mean for me in my daily life? So I use some of my life coach training and certification to distill that information so that people can use it for their jobs, for choosing a career or switching jobs, in their relationships, in being a better parent, in taking better care of themselves. It can even apply to their health, well-being, and diet and exercise. So I give them ways to use the information from their spirit animals truly in any part of their lives where they need that help.
Brilliant. And when you say in any part of your lives, I know, for most of us who are familiar with spirit animals, we think about that medicine, that magic to apply in our personal lives. Is it something that we can bring into our professional lives, and how would we do that?
Absolutely. So one of the very first way that I started teaching spirit animals publicly was I offered a class called Branding with Spirit Animals. And so I still will talk about that with clients on occasion, is if they are entrepreneurs or have their own business, then they need to work with their personal spirit animals in building their brand. So let me refer back to Hawk. If Hawk is one of my spirit animals, then I can't make my personal brand something else arbitrarily. And you don't have to put your animal literally in your brand. You don't have to name it that or use it in your logo, but it's having that energy come through. And when you're pretending to be something else, when it's an artificial brand, then that's going to feel off to everyone else who comes in contact with it. And another really good way to use spirit animals in a professional setting is when you work with other people, if you use this in a team building situation and you know other people's spirit animals and your own, that can help explain a lot of conflict that arises and what you can do to overcome that conflict. So, for example, if one person has, let's say, eagle as a spirit animal, but someone else has mouse as a spirit animal. Mouse is really, really good at organization and working with details, but eagle is up there again with that big vision and that big picture. They don't communicate well with each other, do they? I mean, you can imagine the physical animals. Mouse would be really afraid of eagle, and eagle's going to be very dismissive of mouse's gifts. So if those are two people who have to work together, then when they understand that that can be the source of some of the conflict and the reason they don't communicate well with each other, now they can both change the way they communicate so that the other one can better understand them, or have someone mediate, someone who's better at translating, like someone who has fox as a spirit animal. Fox is really good at speaking many languages, not necessarily literally French, Spanish, Russian, but speaking with different people so that everyone can understand what Fox is saying. I just love that. I love talking about this. I wish we could go on longer. It's just so much fun to use it in these situations. And that works great with families as well. So not just team building at work, but in families, it is fabulous. If you've got single parent, two parents, whatever, and kids, it just really helps explain the dynamics of a household. It's beautiful that way.
That's really cool. I mean, I like how you put that all together, and I like how you think about pulling in, different spirit animals to help mediate or translate. I mean, that's another thing that I've never really thought about before. And so this seems like it really is, or it seems like you really did reach your goal to create a contemporary version of spirit animals that you can actually use in real life, in the real world. So this is great. So Kelly, what do you love most about being an author?
Well, I just love writing in general. so it's pleasing, it's very satisfying to go through that process to me, and to have all of these ideas in my head that, back to spider, that feel like this jumble of a web. And the writing process is like putting it all together into that gorgeous, glistening web that you can look at and understand. And so that in itself is completely satisfying. And then the idea that other people can read it and do something very practical with it to help them and make their lives a little bit better. Honestly, just nothing else feels better to me than that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being our special guest today. We will have a link to your book in the show notes for this episode, and our listeners can find that at SheWroteABook.com/40 to learn more about our author and her awesome book. Thanks again, Kelly. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you for listening to She Wrote a Book. If you enjoyed this episode, then subscribe now so you can automatically get access to all new episodes, and feel free to share your inspired thoughts with us in the comments too. I'd love to hear from you. Are you ready to write your own book? Get started now with my quick and concise webinars so you can learn my insider secrets on writing and publishing your own book. Claim your free gift now at SheWroteABook.com/bonus. Until then, may you always feel good and make magic.
Feel good, make magic now. Lena, Anani will show you how. Ignite that wisdom inside of you and show the world what you do to publish, write, and promote